What you're looking at are live pictures at the top, the tippity top of the Empire State Building, where two people have climbed all the way up there on the antenna spire. And you see them, and they're holding a banner. And what that banner says is, when the power of love beats the world of power, the world knows peace. We are in New York. How many blocks, John Berman?
It's really just a few avenue blocks over. We're at Hudson Yards, which is 33rd and 10th. That's basically, between 5th and 6th in the same area, past Madison Square Garden.
We can put the pictures back up as we talk about this.
By the way, lots going on in this area over the next few days.
Exactly.
I mean, this is where we think Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are getting married at Madison Square Garden. I'm not trying to make a joke. I'm just trying to tell you, it's in the very same neighborhood that a ton is going on, just a short distance from here. The Empire State Building is 102 stories tall. I think with the spire, it's 103.
I'm trying to look to see if they even have any kind of harness or anything of the sort.
1,400 feet. 1,400 feet up in the sky.
It does not look like it. As somebody who has severe anxiety about heights, it's honestly even hard for me to imagine this. And as you said, it's important not to make a joke. I mean, obviously, these are protesters. They're trying to make a point. They're trying to get seen. They are. This is quite a dramatic way to do it. They appear to be making their way down.
It's been a few years since I've been up there, but you have to get to the area where you can even reach the spire. You have to take all kinds of elevators, go through lines. If they went there as tourists, I wonder if they bought tickets and got up to the observation deck, which is on the 102nd floor as tourists. You've got to go through all kinds of security even to get there. So one wonders how they managed to get that far without being noticed or apprehended. Still a ways to go.
Yeah.
Right? Look at that.
Yeah, that zoom out.
It's hard to see. It's hard to see with that the perspective with the ship behind.
That's the Hudson River there.
Yeah.
That is where cruise ships dock. They come up the Hudson, they dock there, so you can just see how far that giant cruise ship is beneath them.
Right, you can see it, and I mean, it's hard to see the perspective of just how tall the Empire State Building is. In any event, Juliet, as somebody who is a specialist in Homeland Security, what are those of us who are not, certainly in this type of security, thinking of?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, and you can hear my anger is they have chosen to do this. It is a risk, so I'm going to assume that they know it's a risk. If one of them were to fall, if one of them were to drop something, if the flag were to drop, that is a public safety issue for the people on the ground who have not decided not to do something like this. So that's my first thought is, I don't mean to be rude about them. They need to be safe. They look like they're climbers. Look at them. They know what they're doing. But so that's the first thing is I'm worried about what's below. The second is, of course, whatever breach of security happened between them. I'm getting texts from people who work for the building, security below in terms of their access to this part of the building, which is not accessible to the public for obvious reasons. So there's already a trespass breach. There's going to be other legal claims against them. The final, though, as you all were saying before, is we're just in this world of like performative, everyone pay attention to me. And that is what they're doing. That is how we respond, whether it's terrorists who, have manuscripts and manifestos, or it's people who know that this is the most media-centric city in all of the country. I have no idea what they're doing, right? I mean, there's reporting about some Instagram posts that, about Earth and protecting Earth. But as you said, look, our buildings are, and skyscrapers like this are also, they're not just real estate, they are holders or possessors through leases of critical infrastructure capacity, right? So whether it's being able to land a helicopter or in something like this, satellite displays. And so the city will have, or the city certainly knows what could be impacted by them. But they're, I don't know, they are doing stuff that is making us watch right now. But that's exactly right. This is not just a building. I'm putting them aside. I hope that they're safe. They look like they're fit, that they can handle this. I'm worried about them making mistakes and impacting the city, or some sort of sabotage against the satulites.
And
I mean, he looks like he's proposing. Right?
Well, you can see that there was they put, it looks like a selfie stick up there.
Yeah.
Okay. It looked like there was just a proposal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is the generation that cannot do anything without everyone watching.
Can we just stop for a second? Hold on one second, Juliet. So we saw a selfie stick, clearly looks like a selfie stick, go up. He goes on, or somebody went on one knee. We don't know what the gender of these individuals. Went on one knee, looked like a proposal. They hug, and it looks like it's just being captured by somebody's cell phone. They're getting it.
It's probably streaming somewhere. Yeah, it's probably streaming somewhere live right now. I'm not able to access it. I've been given some links about who they are, but we'll let the reporters figure out who they are. But yeah, I mean, this is performative, and you know, I am all for love. I am all for romance. Let me just tell you. This is egregious for about 10,000 reasons, and these people will end up in jail for their wedding, as they should.
Shimon Prokupecz, you've covered, you're a native New Yorker, you've covered incidents in New York more times than we can count. Also, are they wearing costumes?
Yeah, well, it looks like they did at one point have both of their faces covered, but the woman there now clearly is showing her face now. So there was something on her head when we saw her earlier at the top of the building, at the top of this antenna, this transmitter, and it looks like now she's showing her face. And I can't really make out the man's face. But you know, this is good. This is one of these things for the NYPD. And look, they train for this kind of stuff in many different ways. This is also a situation where the police are not going to want to put themselves in any kind of danger and hope that somehow they could communicate with these individuals and negotiate with them and get them to come down. At some point, they will hopefully come down and come down safely. But I wouldn't expect anything aggressive at this point from the police department. There's really no point in being too aggressive here. This is the Empire State Building. I mean, this is the center of Manhattan, of New York City. This sits on 34th Street, just off of 6th Avenue. It is the center. It is a building that when you come into New York City, when you fly over New York City on your way to the airport here, you see it. And no doubt this is a landmark, and it will be a security risk because there's going to be a lot of questions about how these individuals were able to do this. And clearly they probably studied this, these two individuals, that they figured out a way how to do this. They've probably learned that they've been to that building and they were able to do some reconnaissance and figure out how to get up there. But there are layers of security in the Empire State Building, from the ground floor into the elevators, up to the observation desk, up to the observation deck. There's security layers there. There are supposed to be gates and other layers and layers of security to try to prevent this kind of stuff. But that's a whole separate issue here, obviously. But this is something that is going to get a lot of attention and is getting a lot of attention just because of the brazenness of this. The minute that the NYPD, police officers, and Empire State Building security staff can get their hands on these individuals safely, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it aggressively once they can do it. But there's no way at this point that any police officer would climb that and put themselves in harm's way for no reason, right? Like, other than being on that building, these two individuals, it does not appear are causing any kind of a security concern. And so you sort of kind of got to wait this out and see when they get tired.
It looks like somebody is climbing up. Perhaps it's law enforcement.
Yeah, and it looks like I can't see. I kind of think I saw some safety harness around some of them. So this would be, if it is, it would be the emergency services officers. And look, they also do need to get someone up there. If they're not able to communicate with them, they may want to try to get someone as high up as they possibly can. Look, you're putting officers at risk here unnecessarily. But they're going to do it if they have to do it, and they will get as high as they can safely to start talking to them. But I don't know what you say to these individuals. I mean, they're going to do what they want to do.
I would think you're under arrest might be part of the
Yeah,
thing that you say to them.
CNN's John Miller joining us right now. John, I know you're in touch with all of your sources across the city, your law enforcement sources. As Boris mentioned, there are 2 members of the emergency service unit now making their way up that tower. Have you learned any more about who they are or how they managed to get there as we look at these live pictures?
Well, this call came into 911 at 12 noon and 48 seconds, so almost a minute after 12 noon. So this has been going on for an hour. Units from the Midtown South Precinct responded and started climbing their way up towards the observation deck and beyond. When they got to the 104th floor, they reported that the locks there had been broken, so that it appears that may be part of this incident. But then you saw these 2 people literally at the tippy top, the very top, apparently from what we can see, without harnesses or protective equipment, basically freestyling with the when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace banner, and then that proposal. Who they are, what their message is beyond what's on the banner, whether this was to surround a marriage proposal. The message of love is impressive, but the message that they're going to get in a few minutes, because the officers from the emergency service unit are making their way up the tower to meet these 2 on the way down, they're going to probably face charges of reckless endangerment for the hazard they caused, criminal trespass for being in the area and not for the purposes that area is designated, burglary if in fact those locks were broken by them. So whatever the message is, it's going to be a mixed message by this afternoon.
No doubt. And WABC is now reporting that the 2 are in custody. We're working to get more information on their status, but that is what WABC is reporting, that these 2 who pulled off this stunt are now in custody.